morning children. Today is my lecture 5 under gravitation chapter. Okay, yesterday we have completed lecture 4 and today let us go for lecture 5. In the previous lecture, have completed up to the universal law of gravitation. To explain that, in my previous lecture I said earlier, first we have taken the concept of the deduction of Newton's universal law of gravitation from Kepler's third law, and we have arrived at an expression. At the same time I said, by using those Kepler's third law, he has concluded 3 points. By using those 3 points, he explained the one universal law of gravitation. Okay. After explaining that, again I said one more point. In his book Principia, he has written the statement and explanation of the one Newton's universal law of gravitation that we have completed yesterday. Right? And also remember, while explaining that, I explained a statement along with mathematical expression. After completing mathematical expression, we have learnt the one SI unit. Also we have learnt the CGS unit for the gravitational force. After completing that, we have gone for dimensional formula for gravitational force. One more point I want to say in that, where how to define G, nothing but universal gravitational constant. That was left out. Let me complete that first, and after completing that I just go for vector form of Newton's law of universal law of gravitation. Okay, right. In the one previous class, finally we have proved where F is equal to G m1 m2 by r square. This is the one expression we have derived in the previous class, where I said capital G, which is called universal gravitational constant. Gravitational constant. And we said two masses. One of that, while explaining, we have taken mass of the sun, another mass of the planet, and the distance between the mass of the sun and the planet be represented by r. Okay. Now using this expression, today I just state what is the definition of universal gravitational constant. That is definition of universal gravitational constant. Definition of universal gravitational constant, which is represented by G. Okay. So this, how to define this? Let me take the help of this expression. In this, I take the condition in such a way. Let me take, if we take, that is m1 is equal to m2, which is equal to 1 kg. What do you mean by this? I have taken the masses 1 kg each. So you have to remember, here m1 equal to 1 kg and m2 equal to 1 kg. Means each mass is of 1 kg. Right? The separation between them is represented by r. Let me keep it as 1 meter. I am writing this in SI system. So be aware, I have written 1 kg, here it is 1 meter. If I substitute all this, then finally we get where F is equal to G. Where finally equal to F equal to G. What do you mean by this? Where this G is called as universal gravitational constant. So universal gravitational gravitational constant is numerically equal to the force of attraction between the two bodies of that is two bodies of masses 1 kg each, separated by unit distance between them. Unit distance means nothing but 1 meter. Their separation is 1 meter. So in my previous class I have shown this figure where it is m1, this is m2, separated by distance r, where I can say it is nothing but this mass is taken as 1 kg. Again this m2 is taken as 1 kg, r is taken as 1 meter. And you already know these m1 and m2 are point masses. Okay, and this is only true for point masses. So now let me tell you where this, by using these conditions we got F equal to g. How to define this? It is defined as nothing but universal gravitational constant can be defined as, that is nothing but defined as, that is it is numerically equal to force of attraction in which the two masses are of 1 kg each, separated by unit distance 1 meter apart. Means apart means nothing but the distance between them is 1 meter. They are separated by 1 meter. So I write the one statement. So universal gravitational constant is numerically equal to the force of attraction of masses, nothing but I can say of unit masses. If I say unit masses, you need not write the units. So I write of unit masses which are separated by unit distance apart. This is how you can state this. So just remember, this universal gravitational constant is numerically equal to force of attraction of unit masses, nothing but of two unit masses which are separated by unit distance apart. If I write here where you know where f is equal to g into 1 by 1 square, naturally this becomes f equal to g. This is how we prove this. Okay, so this is the one statement you have to remember, and this statement you may expect sometimes in 3-mark questions where they tag the one derivation also, explanation. Sometimes separately they will ask you to write define universal gravitational constant for 1 mark. So this is very important. You have to remember this definition for universal gravitational constant. Okay, so just remember, if they separately ask this question, you will expect for 1 mark. Define G, they will ask define G. Nothing but define universal gravitational constant. Sometimes the same G can be included in that explanation. They will just ask state Newton's law of gravitation. Newton's law of gravitation. Yesterday I have stated the definition where you know statement, every particle in the universe attracts every other particle with nothing but every other particle which is directly proportional to the product of their masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them and the line joining between the two centers of those two masses. Okay, there is a line joining between the two masses. So that is what we have stated yesterday, this statement. Okay, and after this we will explain, we will have the same question. Sometimes state Newton's law of gravitation, hence define G they will ask. At that time this carries 1 mark, again this carries 1 mark. So for 2 marks you expect this. Sometimes state Newton's law of gravitation, explain. When you state this, after stating, you have to arrive at this expression. Yesterday I have shown how to show this expression. This you have to show. Sometimes they just ask, write its SI unit. Write its SI unit. Nothing but this F unit. Again, dimensional formula. Nothing and dimensional formula. So these are the chances you expect the dimensional formula. Questions you expect maybe the board exam, maybe your regular test, everywhere, whenever you write theory paper, at that time you expect these questions. Is it clear? So, just remember, this is what we have learned, the Newton's law of gravitation. Today, I just go for the one more very important concept, vector form of Newton's law of gravitation. In my yesterday's class, I have shown this. What does this force explains? Already in my yesterday's class I said where force is a vector quantity. Force is a vector quantity. When I say vector quantity, it has both magnitude and direction. It has both magnitude and direction. But remember, this expression explains only the magnitude of force. It explains only the magnitude of force. It will never explain the one direction. It will never speak about the direction. So just remember, if they just state the question, state Newton's law of gravitation and explain means they can directly write this. Sometimes they just explain, state Newton's law of gravitation, explain the Newton's law of gravitation in vector form. At that time you have to go for vector form of Newton's law of gravitation, where you have to use vector conditions. Okay, in the mechanics section, we have the vector, the chapter. In that you learn some rules how to write the vectors. But now at present, whatever is required for me, I will take the help of vectors and explain whichever is required for this expression. And thoroughly you will learn under vector chapter, where you come across all the rules, whatever is there under vectors, many concepts you come across there. But whichever is required for me, I will explain. Okay, I think you have followed all these steps. Now let me go for the new concept, which is vector form of Newton's law of gravitation. Okay, let me just rub it. So please observe the vector form of Newton's law of gravitation. Very important, and some concept I will explain now. Whatever the concepts I will explain, you have to be very clear. The vector notations, all those things. First I will derive this derivation. You expect this in theory, where state Newton's law of gravitation, universal law of gravitation, in state and explain they will give. So I have to explain the one statement along with that is explanations. Okay, with derivation, state and explain, but you have to show using vector form. You will expect, this is very important question, you expect for 3 marks. This is compulsory in your theory paper, you expect for 3 marks. Okay, if it is vector form of Newton's law of gravitation. Statement along with explanations. Already you know the statement is same, that statement will never change, that statement remains same. So you have to be particular about that statement, you have to remember correctly. So I will repeat once again the statement, every particle in the universe at attracts every other particle with a force of attraction of two masses which are directly proportional to each other and inversely proportional to the square the distance between them and the line joining between the two centers of the two bodies, or you can say two masses. Okay, so that is what the statement. Now to explain the explanation, how to explain this? Before going for explanation, I will just draw the figure, and using that figure we have to explain that. Nothing to worry, only mathematical expressions we have tried. So first you have to draw the figure. That figure consists of, let me say, here I have two bodies, that is masses, point masses. Already you know it is true for point masses. I will write here two masses. This is M1, this is M2. Okay. From the center towards this, here it is a line joining between the two centers. For your convenience, I will write this is A, this is B. Okay. This is separated by some distance, this is R. This you know, the one concept yesterday while writing the one figure we have written this. Now I have to show the condition in vector form. So what I just do is, let me say this, the one mass which is at point A is attracting towards the mass M2. So I will write the force first. How to write the force? The force is represented by F. I will show the arrow mark like this, where I write F12 with arrow head. This indicates vector. This is nothing but arrow mark indicates the one in the form of vector. Okay. At the same time, if I just write this M2 is attracting M1, so I can write this is the one force where I can write this is F21. Force on second particle by first particle. What is this? Force on first particle by second particle. This is the condition you have to remember. So first thing, for your reference, I just show this is nothing but F12. If I write, what is this first one? It represents on. This represents by. That you just remember, very simple way. Where force exerted by one is a force on first particle by force on the first particle by second particle. So force exerted by that is 1, force exerted on 1 by 2. So just remember, force exerted on 1 by 2. Similarly, I write F21, where I can write force exerted, that is on 2 by 1. So just now I write only force. Now I have to write the one distance, that is R. This is the one position vector. It represents the position vector. Okay. So for this convenience, if I write in this direction, where I can show this is R12. Here it is R21. Right, I will write like this. This is the one position vector. Okay. Now to explain this very simple way, just remember, always this unit vector is directed. Usually this force F is nothing but F1, where it is the force on first particle by second particle. Always it is directed towards this side. Naturally, this unit vector is moving towards this side. So these two are opposite to each other. That condition you have to remember. So for your convenience, I can also write this is nothing but R21 vector. It is directed towards this side. Whenever we write this, I can write this is R12 vector like this. I will write unit vector in this way. Right? This is said to be called unit vector. So for your convenience, I will just write, if I write R12, if I write R12 1, 2. This is unit vector. I am writing a unit vector. So a unit vector, that is unit vector from, that is first particle to second particle. What is the first particle? This is A. So unit vector, I can write unit vector, that is unit vector from A to B. Right? If I say this A and B alphabets, I can write in terms of unit vector from A to B. For example, madam, this we get confusion means I'll write here. This one represents by A. This is nothing but B. I can write like this. Also, I can write this is B. This is A. I can also write like this. What is this? R21 unit vector. This is unit vector from, this is second particle. Second particle is B here. So from B to A. So this is the one condition. You just remember. Very simple. This figure as well as this. Okay. And by just using this, I can use the condition. How to write the expression? Directly we have to write the expression. So we just write the one where F12 for your convenience. I take this F12 which is equal to minus G M1 M2 by R square into, this is the one direction I have shown, and always it should be directed like this. So we write, this is nothing but there. This is the one F12 we have. This F12 means unit vector can be represented like this. Therefore, I write R21. You may observe why we have written minus. What does this negative sign indicate means? This explains there is a force of attraction between two masses. So as and when there is an attraction, we represent by negative sign. And this negative sign always represents there is a force of attraction between them. So let me write F12. This is F12. So this can be written as R2, unit vector. Second, that is, let me first write what is the negative sign. Negative sign indicates force of attraction. Force of attraction of mass M2 by M1. So there is an attraction of mass M2 by M1. That is nothing but this M1 is attracting to mass M2. I can write where force of attraction of mass M2 by, that is first particle I have taken here. So for your convenience, this is first particle. Force on the first M1 by M2 like this. This is what I can write. What's the second step I can use? Similarly, with the help of this, I write the second step. Similarly, I'll write F21, which is equal to minus G M1 M2 divided by R square, and this is F21 we have written. Here we have R12. So this is unit vector R12 cap like this. This is nothing but vector cap we say. Okay, this is what the expression. So this is equation number 2. This is equation number 1. So what do you observe from this? From the 1 and 2 you can also write, if it is R21 unit vector, we always write minus R12. They are exactly opposite to each other. Nothing but unit vector R21 is equal to R12, only they are nothing explaining. They are exactly opposite, directed opposite to each other. By using this, you can also write therefore F12 is always equal to, that is infinite F12 in this case. This is R21 we have. R21 if I write in terms of this substitution, and again I write this is nothing but minus F21. So what does it explains here? This final expression explains vector form of Newton's law of gravitation. Also remember, this expression explains regarding F12, this is the force, this is also the force. Already know this was explained by Newton. You already are familiar about, there are 3 laws of motion, Newton's laws of motions. In that, you are just observing, this obeys Newton's third law of motion. Hence, this final expression obeys Newton's third law of motion. So, this I can say it obeys Newton's third law of motion. Third law of motion. It obeys Newton's third law of motion. What does it explain? For every action, that is nothing but always, for every action there is an always equal and opposite reaction. I can say for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Equal and opposite reaction. Okay. So just remember, this is a force over same force, whatever you have. Here also it will be same force. If this is action, this becomes a reaction. So equal forces are there, but if this acts action, this acts as a reaction. So this obeys Newton's third law of motion. So after completing this, you are explaining the one, it obeys Newton's third law of motion. One more point I want to say here, where F12, it is where you can say as F12 and F21 are directed the opposite to each other. Please observe, this is F12, this is F21, are directed opposite to each other. And also, what does it explain? It is always directed opposite to each other, and that is directed to, and always remember, this F12 is directed towards this side. How it is directed? It is directed towards the centers of the one, this F21. So directed towards each other, towards the centers. That is towards each other, towards their centers. Towards their centers. That is line joining between them. That is line joining between them. So what does this explains? This point, for example, in the second point, let me say this is first point. What does it explain in this? This explains there is a line joining between the two masses, or where directed towards the centers of the two masses. And this explains nothing but explains also called as central force. This is a line joining between the two masses, where it is explaining central force. So whenever you get this question in the exam, state and explain Newton's, state and explain the Newton's universal law of gravitation in vector form. If they ask you to write the question, first you have to write statement. Statement carries 1 mark, and for the first point you have to draw this figure. Without the figure you need not explain this. By chance if you go ahead and you write the remaining concept, it is totally wrong. Without the figure you get 0 marks. So please observe, by just going for explanation, first you have to draw this figure. This figure carries marks, and using this figure, with the help of this figure, you write this first equation, and you write whatever the things you want to explain here. This you have to write for this. And after completing equation 1, by looking to this equation 1, similarly you can write equation 2. By the help of equation 1, you can write this equation 2. So by equating 1 and 2, before equating 1 and 2, we have this condition. This condition is used here. And by using this condition, you can prove F12 is equal to minus F21. By chance if you are writing F21 earlier, F21 is equal to minus F1. This is what you can write. There is no problem. You can interchange the positions. but remember, if this acts as action, this acts as reaction. So that is what that shows. After completing this, you have to write the conclusion. What the conclusion? This final expression explains vector form of Newton's law of gravitation. And finally, you have to explain it obeys Newton's third law of motion. This expression explains Newton's third law of motion. If this is acting as action, this is acting as reaction. Hence, it obeys Newton's third law of motion. And one more point in the statement itself, we said the line joining between the two centers, I said, due to which you had to explain this F12 and F21 are directed opposite to each other. They are directed opposite to each other. At the same time, they are towards the centers of the line joining between the two. Hence, it obeys center force. So, up to here, you have to explain the things. So, this is what, whenever you get this in theory paper, you have to explain all these steps. This completes Newton's law of gravitation. One more point I want to say here. Since you are in PUC first year, in the next coming years, coming second year also, throughout first year and second year, whenever we come across the vector forms, we use some conditions. I'll show the different forms of vector forms of this universal law of gravitation can be written. That methods, 3 forms I'll tell you, that we are observing in NCERT textbook. So, throughout first year and second year, whenever we come across vector notations, we take the help of that. I'll explain 3 steps in that. One is nothing but called as unit vector. One, I show this expression in full vector. Again, I explain this in the one called as position vectors. So, all those 3 derivations are not given. Only you have to remember those steps to be followed in the coming days for any vector notations and also many objective type questions, and wherever you come across there, you require those concepts. In the second year, we learn electrostatics. Most of the concepts which we learn in gravitation is similar to the one where we learn in electrostatics. Slight difference we will tell you. What differences are there in that I will tell you. There also we come across one derivation with vector notations. If you understand this vector notation, it will be very easy for you to explain that. Because this gravitation we particularly take two masses, that is M1 and M2, separated by some distance r. Similarly, in electrostatics we speak about charges, where in that charges we take it as one is Q1, another is Q2, and they are separated by some distance. We finally arrive at some expression similar to like this itself. We get the expression. There also we write vector notations. So remember, whatever today you learn, please remember very carefully. That will be useful in the next coming days wherever you come across vector notations. Is it clear? So let me just go for that. Now this completes vector form of the one law of gravitation. I'll write the vector form in 3 ways. That is, one is in unit vector, another is in full vector, another is in the position vector. So I'll just plug this. I'll show only the expressions how to write, and those expressions are useful for objective type questions. Okay, first step, I'll just draw the figure first, then I go for the explanations. Okay, so first I'll explain the one figure. Already in the previous derivation we have learned the same figure you have to remember. Let me see, this is point A, this is point B, and here this is mass M1. And this is mass M2, and they are separated by some distance r. This is what we have drawn the figure. From center to this we have drawn this figure. Now let me write the force. So the one force on first that is particle mass m1 is attracting towards the second particle. So force exerted by first particle towards second particle. So I just write on and by. So force on first particle by second particle. Here if I write force on second particle by first particle. So I just draw this figure. This is what I can show here. F12. Right? This I show in terms of F21. Already I said F21. If I write like this, what does this represent? This represents, this is 2. This is 1. So wait. Force on and right. Force on second particle by first particle. If you remember this sequence, it is enough. You need not worry. For this you can write force on first particle by second particle. One step is okay. Now if I write position vector, this represents, since it is F12, here I should write position vector R21. This is the position vector, we write like this, R21. By chance if I write in this direction, I write for this R12. This is the one position vector direction I have written. So here what is this? R, this is 2, 1 with represented by unit vector. So I can say this is nothing but here remember this position vector is directed towards second particle. This is directed towards second particle by which one? Towards the second particle by the one from 1. So I write for a reference R21. I write like this. What is this? It represents towards. You just remember this is enough. This is towards. Here from, that is nothing but I can say that is R2 toward R towards 2 by that is nothing but by 1. I can write this is R towards by 1. Whenever you want to derive the condition, you have to take it. Suppose if you write, it is enough. Okay? By chance, if I write one more equation by using the help of this F21, then I can write G M1 M2 by R square, which is R12. Please observe, this is R12 cap. So this complete expression, what does this expression explains? This explains the one unit vector. Whenever you want to write this in unit vector, you write this in vector. This is the one first method. This is first method. Okay. Now if I want to write for second method, that is I want to write in terms of second method. What is this in terms of full vector? When I want to write full vector, I take some conditions. What is that condition I tell? You already know where f is equal to G M1 M2 by R square. What is this? This is the expression for, that is universal force of attraction that is between two masses separated by some distance. So it is an expression for universal law of gravitation. Here I did not write anywhere the one direction. This explains only magnitude of force. Only magnitude. Please observe. This explains only magnitude. Nowhere I have written the direction. It will never speak about the direction. It only magnitude of force I have written here. But you already know force the vector quantity. I want write in vector form. At that time I take the help of this vector conditions and have written unit vectors. Now what do you mean by vector? A vector, it has both magnitude and direction. Now just let me write what is magnitude and what is direction. I write this condition. If it is r cap, that is nothing but this is the one unit vector, where I can write this will be in terms of like this. How to write this? Unit vector in terms of this I can write r cap. This is called unit vector. Let me write this is unit vector. Right? This is unit vector. So whenever you want to write vector, it has both magnitude and direction. So if this is vector, r vector, then have to write the magnitude of r vector into, this is the one, nothing but called as, this is cap. What does it explain? This is unit vector. This is magnitude. So a magnitude multiplied by unit vector explains the one vector. So vector has both magnitude and direction. So this explains magnitude, this explains unit vector. Therefore this is called as the one vector. That is nothing but called as, this is unit vector, this is vector. Okay. So I can write this is nothing but magnitude. Magnitude. What is this? This is unit vector. This is unit vector. So here to write this unit vector, I have to take the help of this one, where I write this is r vector divided by this. This is how we write. But this is an appropriate method to write this one. Appropriate method. This is the one method, appropriate method. But we can also write like this, where r vector by r. This is only simple form you can write. So without writing this modulus, you can write like this. This is also a simple form it is. You can write like this. Okay. So this is what you can write for r vector. Now using this unit vector, now I want to write for, I want to change unit vector into full vector. So this is called as full vector. This is full vector. Right? So I write in terms of full vector. The second step, I take the help of this F12 G M1 M2 by R square. Here R2 1. For this one I can write this one first step. R. This is nothing but arrowhead by R. If this is the one that you can write, it's enough. This is one. But here this is R2 1 it is. So I write R2 1. Here you need not write for this. It is enough to write in simple form. So by writing this, if you remember this is R and this R is same. So I am rewriting this formula, where I can rewrite this as G M1 M2 by R cube, and this I write it as R2 1. Right? This is the one formula I can take. This is first one. After solving this step, we got final expression. The second one I can write like this, where F21, which is equal to G M1 M2 by, here R12 it is, so I write R12 full vector, and this is R cube. Directly I write by the help of this. So what does this explain? This explains, this is full vector. Earlier I have written in unit vector, and I have written in terms of full vector. This is the method. One more step we have, that is the third method, where it is position vector. origin, right? This is what? Here we have m1 here, this is m2. And let me write the position vector for this one is r1, this is r2. Now these two are separated by some distance. Let me say this is the one distance separated by some distance. For your convenience, I will write this is delta r. By using these two are originating from the origin in the Cartesian coordinates. So in the way you can observe this figure. Now, if you want to write position vector for this, first let me take the help of delta r. This r1 plus delta r is equal to r2. r1 plus delta r is equal to r2. Therefore, delta r is equal to r2 minus r1. This I can write like this. Right? So, just remember, you know delta r is equal to r2 minus r1. Now, using this condition, here I can take the help of this full vector. I will write the expression now. For this first one, I write f12. This is equal to g m1 m2 by, let me write r cube. This is r2 1. So I write here, this is r2 minus r1 divided by, this is r2 minus r1. You can write like this. This is the method you can write like this. One more step I can write, second one, where this is f21 equal to g m1 m2 by, this is r12 it is. So write r1 minus r2. Here it is r1 minus r2 under modulus I can write this. So these two explains the one position vector, and these two explains the one full vector, and these two explains the unit vector. So these the one expressions you have to remember in the object equation in the coming days, both in first year and second year. Whenever you come across vector notations, you have to remember this. How to write in unit vectors, how to write in full vectors, how to write using position vectors. This is the method you have to remember for the one to write the force of gravitation using vector notations. So just remember for objective type questions, you have to remember this. You will never get the derivations, but the one during derivations, whenever you want to write with the unit vector, maybe expressing in terms of full vector or expressing in terms of position vector, you have to remember these notations. Okay, so today I have completed vector form of Newton's universal law of gravitations, Newton's universal law I can say, where it is universal law of gravitation, because here you already know we are speaking about gravitation. So that is a universal law of gravitation that you have to remember carefully, and also with respect to this. This you are observed in NCERT textbooks. So wherever you have those figures, you just analyze how we have to write these things. If you observe the figure, you will never understand what to write, how to write. But this is the methods we have. If you follow these steps, you can catch the questions, also the concepts very clearly. Okay, let me stop today. In the next class, I will just explain. So the one, what is the importance of this Newton's law of gravitation in our the physics concepts, and also I will explain some characteristics along with the experiment. Newton's law of gravitation to get the value of g.